Thank you, Jim. You got all 4 of my free throws and my 1 3-point shot I made during my career. That's awesome that was in the paper. And by a show of hands, if David didn't thank you, raise your hand. All right. Well, thank you. Maybe he'll get to you next banquet. But at least I know now where to get cheap gas, cheap cars, and cheap shirts. Right? Well, it is great to be back in Little Rock, and great to have an opportunity to be with each of you today at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. What a famous club you have. It's throughout this country, people know about the Little Rock Touchdown Club. You see all the awards you have here. You recognize football and young men achieving great things at all levels. So kudos to you for what you do and how you recognize football, not only through the state of Arkansas, but throughout this country. What a great sport football is. And on behalf of the University of Arkansas, I want to thank you guys also for spearheading our Southwest Conference Hall of Fame induction piece. I know we've got some inductees here in November 5th, is that right? And obviously our history is very rich, and we thank you guys for taking the time to recognize the history we have here at the University of Arkansas. So thank you very much, and the Southwestern Conference obviously a big part of that. So I had some prepared remarks that I had finished up on Friday. I'm going to adjust those a little bit, and I'll get to those remarks on Friday, but let me talk a little bit about our football program. What I have found out is that we have a very passionate fan base at the University of Arkansas. And right now that passionate fan base is disappointed in the start to the 2018 season. I share in your disappointment. I'm also disappointed in the way that our football season has started this year. But I can promise you one thing. Chad Morris, John Chavis, Joe Craddock, and our other full-time coaches, and those 125 football players in that locker room, wherever your level of disappointment is, I promise you that their level of disappointment is much, much greater. Okay? Much, much greater. I've been in the locker room the last 2 weeks. I can promise you, however low you think you are, they're a lot lower than you are. Okay? But here's what, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, and I'm not here to try to temper your disappointment. But what I am here to tell you today is that within our football program and within our Department of Athletics, no one is settling. No one is throwing in the towel on a season that's 3 games old. And most importantly, no one is turning their back on our head coach, our coaching staff, or those young men in that locker room. Everybody faces adversity in life. And when you go through adversity, you really find out the true character of a person when they go through that adversity. When people are going through adversity, they like to point the finger. They like to place blame. They like to turn their backs. But I can tell you, through this adversity and this storm we're going through as a football program right now, turning our back on this football program is not going to help us at the University of Arkansas and our football program achieve their goals. 10 months ago when we hired Chad Morris, we knew we had a long way to go to build a championship program. As I sit here today, we still have a long journey to go to build a championship program. I have the utmost confidence in Chad Morris and the staff he's put together that we're going to get there. I don't have an exact timetable for you on when that's going to happen. I will tell you, though, back in January, when I was sitting in the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready for kickoff of the Alabama-Georgia National Championship game, I sent our head coach a simple text. It said, Houston, 2024. Houston, 2024. That's the site of the 23 season national championship game 6 years from now. That's our vision for the football program at the University of Arkansas. And by the way, Coach Morris sent me a simple thumbs up in response to that. Look, I want to thank our fans that were at the Eastern Illinois game as we opened up a beautifully renovated Razorback Stadium a few weeks ago, and that were there with us on Saturday. One of the things that makes the University of Arkansas and the state of Arkansas so special is our fans and the passion of our fans. But what we have to understand is when we win as one Razorback family, and when we lose as one Razorback family. And we're going to accomplish great things as one Razorback family, I promise you. So hang in there with us. So that's the end of my football spiel, okay? So now on to my more prepared remarks. Okay. I was sitting down at dinner last night talking to my wife, Jennifer, of 25 years, and Jennifer always has great advice for me, and I was saying, you know, I'm going to speak at the Touchdown Club in Little Rock tomorrow. Sweetheart, do you have any great advice for me? She always has great advice, and she said, Hunter, she said, I've heard you speak before. She said, don't try to be smart. Don't try to be charming. Don't try to be funny. She said, just be yourself. Do we have any husbands that get advice like that from their spouses? Yeah. They're great for that, aren't they? So I'm going to try to listen to my wife's advice a little bit. You know, I don't have any hobbies. I'm a pretty simple person. I think it's important that you guys get to know me as your new athletic director, and I think I can live with that title maybe a few more days now that I've been here 9 or 10 months. But I've got 3 passions in my life: my faith, my family, and college athletics. I can't remember a day in my life in the past 15 to 20 years, and I'm surprised you didn't find this in your research, that my morning hasn't started with a cup of coffee and a time in devotion and prayer. It really sets the course for my day, and especially now as a leader of 3 sons and a wife and 465 student athletes, it really helps set the course for my day to make sure that I make the right decisions for all the people that I lead. My second passion in life is my family. As I mentioned, my wife, Jennifer, of almost 25 years, we've moved 8 times. She's taken and made 8 houses a home for me and my family. As I've been away, she's helped raise what I consider 3 wonderful boys, and she's always been a rock in there beside me. I've got 3 boys. My oldest, Ryan, is 22 years old. He had the opportunity to be a tight end at Marshall University and just graduated this past year, and now he's on the practice squad as a football with the Oakland Raiders. My middle, you can clap for that. My middle son, Jake, is a freshman on the football team at the University of Colorado. He got to dress out this past weekend against New Hampshire and got his first official tackle as a member of the Colorado Buffaloes. And then our poor youngest son, Brooks, is the only one left at home with mom and dad. He's 14 in the 8th grade at Woodland Junior High in Fayetteville, and he also plays football and basketball. He's a little conflicted. One of his brothers was a tight end, the other's a linebacker, so Brooks decided he was going to play tight end and linebacker until he decides which one he wants to follow. And then my final passion, after my faith and my family, is college athletics. I'm now entering my 26th year in college athletics, and I can't tell you that there's another passion that I have in my life from a professional standpoint that I'd want to do other than what I do. If someone told me I had to step away tomorrow from being an administrator in college athletics, I have absolutely no idea where I would turn. I am so blessed to be in a profession that I am passionate about. And before I got into this business, did you know I worked at a bank? That wasn't, you couldn't find that. That wasn't in the paper. That didn't make the paper. So I had a business degree, and I worked at a bank one of my first 2 years out of college. I probably took 10 to 12 sick days working at a bank over the course of the year. In my 25 years in college athletics, I've only taken 1 sick day. Now, the good Lord's blessed me with a great deal of health, but even when I've been sick, I enjoy going to the office every day and being around competitive young men and women and our coaches and our staff. So those are my 3 passions in life: my faith, my family, and college athletics. I've had the privilege of spending the past 10 months traveling around the great state of Arkansas and meeting many of our constituents and learning about what makes this state so special and learning about the fabric of this state. I've talked about the passionate fan base. It's probably the thing that's been the most surprising to me in a good way. You hear about Arkansas and the fan base here, but we have a very great and passionate fan base. And as I traveled around the state and met Razorback fans across this state, one of the things I was certain of is the Department of Athletics is indeed the front porch at the University of Arkansas. And in many instances, it's the front porch to this state. And it's the first impression that you get. It's the front porch of your house, right? And we want that first impression to be great, and we want it to be something that you're really, really proud of. A little bit of my history lesson on the front porch at the University of Arkansas has produced the following: 46 team national championships, 218 conference championships, including 127 since joining the SEC, 41 bowl game appearances, 7 Final Four appearances, 6 by the men and 1 by our women, 9 College World Series appearances, and 65 Olympians have worn the Razorback Cardinal in white. You could clap for that. So that set the foundation for what our student athletes are doing so well right now. There's an annual report on your table. You don't have to open it up right now, but Kevin Trainer has said you have to take it home with you because he's not taking it back with him. And he's got plenty of extras, right, Kevin? But to kind of summarize what's in there, we would like to group the success of our student athletes in 3 categories: academic success, athletic success, and success in their personal development. Here's a little bit of the success our student athletes enjoyed during the past year. 131 student athletes graduated from the University of Arkansas. That's 90% of the 145 student athletes who exhausted their athletic eligibility during the past year. We had a 3.25 cumulative GPA. That's 465 student athletes working together for a cumulative GPA of 3.25. We had 72 that had a perfect 4.0 and 306 that had a 3.0 or better. Athletically, we had 2 national runner-ups, of course, our baseball program and our women's indoor track and field program. We had 4 individual national champions. We had 1 national player of the year. We won 4 Southeastern Conference championships. We had 14 teams that participated in the NCAA postseason championship events. We finished ranked 16th in the Learfield Directors Cup, which is a summation of how your athletic teams do throughout the year compared to the over 300 Division I institutions. We finished 16th in the country, and we're the highest ranked program with 19 sports or fewer. We had 4 programs finish the year ranked in the top 10 nationally, and during their respective seasons, we had 10 other programs that were ranked in the top 25 during the course of the year. As far as student-athlete development goes, we can summarize that in one area, and that's community service. On top of their academic achievements and their athletic achievements, our 465 student-athletes combined to give over 5,000 hours of service back to 100 organizations in our community. So looking ahead, one of the things that I did when I first arrived is I wanted to make sure that our staff and our coaches and our student-athletes were all on the same page. I mentioned that I was a fairly simple person, and I wanted to simplify what our vision, what our mission, and what our focus was for everyone surrounding our department. Our vision is simple. It's to be the best. I know that sounds very cliche-ish, and so how do you define what the best is? Well, right now we have 465 student athletes, and you just heard that we had 145 that exhausted their athletic eligibility during the past year. If we're going to be the best, whatever that number is each and every year where student athletes exhaust their athletic eligibility, we want 100% of those student athletes to earn a degree at the University of Arkansas. Okay? You can't do any better than 100% of your student athletes graduating, can you? We'd be defined as the best. We have 19 sports programs. If we're going to be the best athletically, we need 19 sports programs to have an opportunity to compete for and win conference and national championships. So when we're graduating 100% of our student athletes and we have 19 sports programs that are competing for and winning conference and national championships, that's how we'll use the metric to define if we're the best. Our mission is building Razorbacks and champions for life. What does that mean? My job as a director of athletics is to work with our coaches and our administrative team and our support staff to create opportunities for each and every one of our 465 student athletes to have success academically, athletically, and in their personal development. And I truly believe if we equip them, if they have success in those three areas, and again, we're only creating the opportunity for our student athletes. They have to take and make the most of those opportunities, and I speak to our student athletes about that each and every day. But if they take and make the most of those opportunities, they're going to earn a degree, they're going to win a championship, and they're going to leave the University of Arkansas with the skill set and equipped to be a Razorback and a champion in whatever they decide to do in life. And that's our mission. And our focus day in and day out is on the success of our student athletes. When our student athletes have success, we're going to have success as a department. I just outlined the success that our student athletes are having academically and athletically and in their personal development, and we are indeed having success as a department with the focus on the success of our student athletes. So let's give our student athletes at the University of Arkansas a big hand. And if that wasn't enough, again, take those annual reports with you. Kevin will be very happy that you did so. So as I traveled throughout the state, again, I learned a lot about the passion of Razorback fans. They're passionate about things about what soft drink we should have, like Pepsi or Coke. See? They're passionate about what logo should be at midcourt, the current logo or the Slobbering Hog logo. They're passionate about what color jersey we should wear. Is it cardinal, is it white, or is it anthracite? Oh, whoa. Well, I touched a nerve there, didn't I? Did I mention anthracite? See, it holds true. It holds true. One of the things I learned quickly, though, is that games in Little Rock are part of the fabric of this state. How ironic that I'm standing here one day before the 70th anniversary of the first game played here at War Memorial Stadium. And excited to be able to come back here, not only in football, because that's a big part of it, but our men's and women's basketball teams are coming here to Little Rock. Our baseball team plays here. Little Rock is a part of this state. We wear Arkansas across our jerseys because we represent this entire state. Playing games against other schools within the state of Arkansas. I had no idea how many schools were in the state. Thank you for that history lesson. We're only going to open it up, that box up to schools within the University of Arkansas system currently, but excited that we're going to be playing the University of Arkansas at Little Rock and University of Arkansas Pine Bluff in baseball games this season up at Baum Stadium, and then I think you'll see some other sports. They don't have the obligation, but now they have the opportunity to schedule any of our system schools for competition moving forward. So I think you'll see that evolve as well. How many of you guys have been to our beautifully renovated Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium? Give that a hand. How about that? Is that not an impressive facility? Now we have a 360-degree concourse. Anybody been able to walk the whole stadium? Anybody feel like doing that on Saturday? I did that on Saturday, by the way. We have self-scanning tickets. We've got new local food offerings, Slim Chickens, Dickey's Barbecue, and a tropical smoothie cafe. We've got great historical displays and the wild band of Razorback monuments. They tell me the water will be on sometime this week. You guys seen that monument? That's unbelievable. And a great picture opportunity there. Some other facility things we have in the works. We just sent out an RFQ, or a request for qualifications, for architectural firms and general contractors for 3 major projects at the University of Arkansas, the first being a clubhouse for our baseball program. Baum Stadium was voted as one of the best places for a fan, the best place for a fan to watch a college baseball game, but we have fallen behind in the amenities that we offer for our student athletes. And so we're going to look at building a 40,000 square foot plus baseball clubhouse that will frame in right field there at Baum Stadium. The first level of that 3-story building will have pitching tunnels, hitting bays, and a kind of a storage area for our lawnmowers and things that maintain our field. The second level will be a student-athlete only level with a new locker room, a new team room, a new strength and conditioning center, an athletic training room, and a hall of champions really to display the success of our baseball program. The third level will be our coach's office level. And then we're looking at some fan amenities outside on the porch overlooking the bullpen there that would be somewhere like the loge boxes that we currently have in the north end zone facility there at Razorback Stadium. The second project on the books is a outdoor track and field operations building. We've won 43 national championships in track and field, and right now the locker rooms that we have for our men's and women's program do not depict the success of our program. And so we're looking to build roughly a 20,000 square foot locker room facility for our men's and women's track and field programs. In 2021, we have the opportunity to host a national championship on our campus at the Randall Tyson Indoor Track and Field Center, and we're looking to do a major renovation to that project, somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 to $20 million in preparation for that national championship event. We also have contracted with an architect to do a feasibility study on Bud Walton Arena and Barnhill to see what the next steps are for each of those venues on our campus. And so we just finished up a $160 million project, but we're busy identifying what other things that we can do on our campus. And talking about that $160 million project, if I could have our Razorback Athletic Foundation staff stand up, please, and stay standing. We had a goal to raise $40 million, and I think it shows the hard work of this staff and the incredible support that we get across this state that we were able to raise $44.3 million in private funds for that facility. Well, I am right on time, David. This is awesome. All right. I'm going to open up for questions.
All right. Let me, Madam Mahat, yeah, let me be first. Okay, Debbie's got mics on each side. Let me be first since I'm the president. I can be first. Hunter,
you didn't say you got to ask the question.
We on our radio show this morning on 103.7 The Buzz, the hot topic was the booing that took place at the game. From an athletic director's perspective, what's your thoughts on that?
We live in the greatest country in the world. You buy a ticket to come to a sporting event, you have the right to respond at how that sporting event is going in your opinion. Not the way I would respond. And for those that booed, think of your son or your daughter or your grandson or your granddaughter being the one down on that field and see if that's how you'd want to respond.
Johnny? Go ahead, Johnny. Yep.
I was reading last week the Forbes article relating to college athletic programs, and even though Arkansas has a high amount of money that's contributed related to the SEC, there's a lot of schools that can do more. So my question is, how do you keep from comparing yourselves to the Alabamas and other people and being able to focus on being the best for the Razorback program?
Sure, that's a great question, and that, you know, budgets within the Southeastern Conference are in the low 100 millions. You've got Texas A&M that's over 200 million, and that's within our conference, and we're funded very well. Our budget going into this year is about 125 million, and we've done a facility assessment. We have a long-range facility project plan, and I just mentioned some of those facilities, and we're going to do what's best for the University of Arkansas, and we're going to build the facilities, and we're going to fund our sports programs, and we're going to hire coaches, and we're going to pay them what makes sense at the University of Arkansas. So, you know, what I tell coaches all the time when they come in with an idea for a need or a want, I said, don't come in here and tell me that they have this at Texas A&M or they have this at Alabama or they have this at Auburn. You come in and tell me how this is going to help our student athletes have success at the University of Arkansas.
You got one? Real quick. Go ahead if you got it. Go ahead, Debbie, if you have one over here. Who's got one? Someone have one? Here, real quick over here. Here, Grant, we'll let you do this right here.
Hunter, I came in Danny Ford's first recruiting class in the early 90s. We were brand new to the SEC. He took over a team that had lost to the Citadel. It wasn't a very good atmosphere. And from the first team meeting that I was a part of, it was apparent that there was a lack of leadership within the team and a lack of discipline within the team. You fast forward 5 years, and we're a top 10 ranked team in the country. We started off 8-0, went to Tennessee. We all know how that wound up. But my point is, it took us 5 years for Danny to develop his culture and his team and his disciplinary regime there at Arkansas. In my limited time that I've got to hang around Coach Morris, I get the sense that he has all of those characteristics to develop that leadership, to develop the disciplinary program, to do the X's and O's part of Arkansas. I'm really excited about him being here. Can you give us some specific things that you've seen out of Coach Morris that lead you to believe that he has those qualities and that it's going to be developed at the university?
Sure. And I think you're exactly right. Creating a culture does not happen overnight. And one real small tidbit that I noticed very quickly, when you talk about discipline, the first time Coach Morris and I, we were hired within 24 hours of each other. We took a tour of our football facilities, including the locker room there in the Smith Center. And as we walked around the locker room, there was trash on the floor, there was clothes on the floor, dirty laundry, you name it. It didn't look like a respectable locker room per se in a building that was just 5 years old. I guarantee if you walk through that same locker room today, that there's absolutely no clothes on the floor, there's no trash on the floor, and it's spotless. And that's not just our players. Part of that is our student athletes, but that's the culture that Coach Morris is building throughout our program and permeates throughout our program, and just the little bit of the discipline. I mean, what he stresses each and every day is you've got to do the little things right. You've got to do the little things right. If you can't do the little things right, how can you do the big things? Got to be able to take care of the attention to detail and all the little things that matter. And that's going to take time because you are changing a culture within our football program. And sometimes you have to take a step or two backwards before you can take 1 or 2 or 3 steps forward. And I think that's what you're seeing now as this culture kind of starts to take hold. We may have taken a step backwards from where we are competitively or where we want to be. But I think you'll see us soon take some steps forward, and you'll start to see a method to that madness.
One more question over here. Yeah, Andrew.
Yes, thank you, David. College football, according to the Wall Street Journal, Hunter, has an attendance problem nationwide. There was a big article, written a weekend before last. Of course, I don't mean Alabama and Ohio State, but just about all the others. There's some thoughts that today's young people don't want to go to games for 3.5 hours. They want to see highlights on their cell phones and all going forward. Are you and your other your fellow ADs concerned about this situation in college football? And does college football have an attendance problem indeed?
Well, I think sports in general has an attendance problem, and I think it's because there's so many games. As TV has evolved, I mean, just about every major college football game that's played now is on TV, and we all have TVs that range anywhere from 65 inches to 100 inches with movie screens and surround sound, and you sit on your comfortable couch. You don't wait in traffic. You don't have to stand in line to wait in a restroom. And so, one of the things we've done at the University of Arkansas this past year is we've created a department that's just about the guest experience and our fan experience. And we have a mantra that says every experience matters, because we're going to make sure as a Razorback fan, from the minute you pull off the interstate and into one of our parking lots, that you're going to have a great experience as a fan, from how traffic transitions in and out of our stadium, to how you get into the venue, to the concession offerings we have and the premium amenities, and how the ushers and people speak to you and talk to you, and how they're informed about the stadium. We don't want fans to have any reason when they come to a game not to come again. And so that's a piece of it that we're attacking. We're going to put, we've got the funds to put Wi-Fi in Baum Stadium, Bud Walton Arena, as well as Razorback Stadium here over the next 12 months to try to help with that service for our younger fans. And then we're looking at amenities for our young alumni. And does it make sense to change some of our offerings to appeal to that generation that does not want to sit for 3.5 hours at a sporting event, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, what have you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Hunter Yurachek. Thanks, Hunter, for being here. Well done.